Here's a photograph I still have from the summer I turned 9. Two men, standing on either side of me, neither one looking at the camera. One of them is smiling the way people smile when they think they've already won something. The other one looks tired and a little bit amused, like he knows something the rest of us don't yet. I didn't understand that photograph for 20 more years. I'm starting to think I finally do. The smiling man is who I'm calling Mentor 1. Steady job, a pension nobody could touch. A lawn so even the neighbors complimented it. He was also the guy who brought coffee for whoever was outside, who said good morning first, who fixed Mrs. Alden's fence one Saturday and never mentioned it again. The tired man is Mentor 2. He'd gone broke twice by 30. Nobody on our street would have pointed at him for anything that summer. Here's the question this whole story sits on top of, and I want you to hold on to it, because the answer isn't what it looks like at first. If you had to bet your own future on one of these two men that summer, which one would you have picked? Most people, including me at 9 years old, would have picked the smiling one without a second thought. That's exactly where this gets interesting. It's a Saturday in June. Mentor 1 pulls into the driveway in a brand new SUV, the kind that still smells like the dealership. 3 neighbors happen to be outside. He hands 2 of them coffee from the cuffholders before they even ask, like he'd planned for this. They walk over. They touch the hood like it's a museum piece. He just smiles and says something about a good year at work. I remember feeling proud just standing next to it. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, "This is what showing up every day gets you, kid." I believed him completely. I had no reason not to. 20 minutes later, Mentor 2 pulls in behind him in a 15-year-old pickup with a dent in the door he never bothered fixing. Nobody walks over. Nobody touches anything. One of the neighbors laughs quietly to the person next to them, thinking I didn't hear it. I did. I remember being a little embarrassed for him, standing there, next to that truck. What none of us knew that afternoon was that the SUV was financed for 6 years at a payment that would eat a real chunk of a paycheck every month, until it was worth less than half what he owed on it. And the dented truck had been paid off in cash for years earlier, freeing up money that had already gone somewhere else entirely. A few weeks later, Mentor 2 asked me to help him with something in his garage. No jet skis, no golf clubs, just a folding table, a notebook, and papers from 3 small businesses he owned pieces of. He slid a napkin across the table and drew a line down the middle without saying a word first. On one side he wrote, "Pays me." On the other, "Costs me." He asked me to name what Mentor 1 had bought that year. The SUV went on "Costs me" without hesitation. Then he asked what he himself owned. A rental unit. A stake in a friend's hardware store. Both went on "Pays me." I just remember the columns looking very unequal and not knowing why yet. He folded the napkin into his shirt pocket like it was cash. Most people spend their whole lives filling up the wrong column and calling it success, he said. Then he changed the subject to dinner. Mentor 1 was the kind of man who showed up 15 minutes before he needed to, every single day, for a company he'd never once been late to in 11 years. He kept a photo of us on his desk. He remembered every birthday in the building, including the mailroom guys. If you'd asked anyone who worked with him to describe loyalty, they would have just pointed at him. Which is exactly why what happened 2 years later didn't feel like a plot twist to anyone who knew him. It felt like a betrayal of the entire deal he thought he'd made. The driveway looked exactly the same the next time I saw it. The grass was still perfect, mowed in those same tidy diagonal lines he was proud of. The mailbox still had the little flag he always kept fixed. What had changed wasn't the house. It took me a full minute standing there to notice what it actually was. The SUV was gone, and so was the coffee. Nobody had told me anything yet. I just knew. It turned out to be a second round of layoffs, the one that finally reached him. After 11 years of showing up 15 minutes early for a company that let him go on a Tuesday morning with a cardboard box and a severance letter he read 3 times in the car before driving home. That same year, one of Mentor 2's 3 businesses failed. The hardware store stake went to zero when his partner mismanaged the inventory into the ground. He lost real money. He didn't panic. He sat at that same folding table, wrote down exactly what went wrong, and adjusted the other 2 businesses within a month, the way you'd fix a leak, not mourn a flood. I asked him once if he was scared. He said losing money that wasn't working for him yet felt different than losing everything at once because it had all been riding on a single paycheck. A folder on a kitchen table. A set of keys on a hook by the door, 11 of them, each with a small paper tag. A laptop open to a spreadsheet nobody bothered to close. A phone buzzing. A tenant asking about a leaking faucet. A check sliding through the mail slot on the first of the month. He picked it up, glanced at it, and kept drinking his coffee. That was it. No lecture, no napkin that day. Just a Tuesday morning that looked completely unremarkable to him, and completely different from any Tuesday I'd ever seen at Mentor One's house. He found work again within 4 months, a smaller company, a smaller title, a longer commute. He still showed up 15 minutes early. He still remembered birthdays. He started bringing his own coffee in a thermos instead of buying it, and he still offered it to whoever was standing outside, even with less of it to go around. That same week, 3 driveways over, Mentor 2 signed papers on a second rental property, sitting at a different kitchen table, using a loan he'd already run the numbers on twice before saying yes to anyone. The SUV loan had cost money every month for something losing value the second it left the lot. The rental loan cost less each month than the rent it brought in, someone else's payment quietly covering it while the property kept appreciating. Same word, debt, pointed in opposite directions. From a driveway, both just look like a loan. That's the whole reason the driveway lied to all of us that Saturday in June. 10 years after that photograph, I stood in Mentor One's driveway a third time. The lawn was still mowed in those tidy lines. There was a different car in it now, older, smaller, and leaning against the mailbox, next to that little flag he still kept fixed, was a sign I didn't expect to see. For sale, no scandal, no single bad decision anyone could point to. Just a decade, quietly finishing. That same week, Mentor 2 showed me a spreadsheet, almost casually, between sips of coffee. 11 properties. A stake in 2 profitable businesses. He drove the same dented truck, structurally speaking, 5 trucks later. He'd stopped needing to work for money years earlier, and hadn't mentioned it to a single neighbor. Neither of them had ever been foolish. Mentor 1 was disciplined and loyal, and built his life on advice that was true, just incomplete. Mentor 2 failed publicly, more than once, and just kept a folding table nearby for exactly those moments. About a year after the for sale sign, Mentor 1 came by Mentor 2's garage for the first time in years, just to help move a table, nothing planned. The old napkin was sitting out, faded, from some unrelated conversation earlier that day. He picked it up without being asked. He read both columns slowly. The way you read something you already suspect is going to cost you something to finish. He didn't say anything for a long moment. Then he smiled, quietly, not the driveway smile, a different one, and set the napkin back down exactly where he'd found it. "I wish someone had shown me this 30 years ago," he said quietly. Nobody responded. Nobody needed to. Last spring, a dealer slid a set of keys across a desk toward me. The same kind of new car smell. The same kind of driveway I could already picture. 3 neighbors. A compliment, a moment I recognized instantly, because I'd watched it happen once before, on a Saturday in June, standing next to a man who believed it completely. I didn't take the keys, not because I don't want nice things, I do, but because I finally understood what that napkin had been trying to tell a 9-year-old for 20 years. I asked one question instead: does this pay me, or does this cost me? Then I got back in a car that already ran fine, and drove home. That's the whole difference, in the end. Not intelligence, not luck, not a head start. Just one question, asked before signing anything, instead of after. Mentor 1 learned to ask it at 58. I got to learn it at 9, and again, on my own, at 30. Every driveway tells a story, but driveways lie. They show you what someone bought. They never show you what got traded away to get it. The thing that mattered was never parked outside at all. It was the question someone asked quietly, before they ever signed anything. Sooner or later, every purchase you make answers that question for you, whether you ever write it down or not. The only thing left to decide is when you start asking first. Which driveway would you have believed, that Saturday in June? And more importantly, Which column have you been filling without ever writing it down? That part's yours to answer, not mine.